everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Good Enough Gaming Podcast. This one comes out on Wednesday, right before GameCon. So if you're watching this, come to GameCon in Edmonton. Come meet us live.
I'm sure last-minute tickets to Edmonton are cheap.
Yeah!
Just don't go to the hockey game. It's fine.
Yeah, $1,300 for nosebleeds.
Yeah.
Bullshit. So, this week's episode, after that impromptu ad, this week's episode is entitled DLC You Again Soon. Have you ever played a game and just knew immediately that if another chapter or additional content was added for it, that you could immediately come back? We've had a few over the years that brought us back, and we wanted to see if you have had any similar experiences with any of our choices, or if we missed any outstanding DLC that would be recommended. In any regard, today is a celebration of the games that keep giving and do justice to the fans and players. But let's be honest, we are definitely going to bring up some bad DLC too. So GEGs, let's break down the additions and extras that make us content or have us DLCing red.
I paid how much for this shit?
I got one of those. So just to clarify, we're not talking like this new live service season bullshit. That's not
does not count. This like excludes the Fortnites, the
Call of Duties.
This is like a $20 for a set amount of content and go.
Story add-on pack.
Yes. And DLC, I realize, stands for downloadable content. But some of these might have happened before that was the way you got games.
Yeah. Expansion discs.
Yeah. 3 more discs.
For all you old people out there.
Yeah.
Blizzard Battle Chest.
Yeah.
Spoilers, man. Fuck.
Heavy nodding intensifies.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So we're talking DLC.
Correct.
One of the very first DLCs that I remember like waiting on with like bated breath. I could not wait for it to come out. I know Trevor knows this one too, because this was a summer staple for us.
Oh God. Yep.
And that was Diablo 2 Lord of Destruction.
That checks out.
There's going to be a lot of Blizzard on this list because
I know
they had some just good games, and then their DLCs are like just fucking banger after banger.
Yeah. This was it came out June 29th, 2001.
Oh my God.
Wow. Jiminy Christmas.
But like right in time for summer. I think I was like 8th grade going into 9th grade, and
we would hear our parents leave the garage. Our bedrooms were above the garage. We would hear them leave for work in the morning, and we would race to the computer as soon as they left in the summer to like, essentially I would get my ass kicked because Kyle, being the older brother, would essentially like kidney punch me and then like play Diablo. And I would just sit there and watch Kyle play Diablo for like hours on end.
We would lose hours, and it's like, oh God, it's lunch.
Yeah,
like,
shit.
One of our parents would call and be like, hey, how's it going? Like, oh great, yeah. It's like, have you done the dishes and done all these things?
Sure.
Yeah, of course.
I remember one summer where, the same sort of thing, but there's a whole bunch of like yard work to do in the back. And we just like didn't do it.
No. Just got ignored.
Yep. Diablo 2 Lord of Destruction was also where Trevor and I like really bonded as brothers for the first time. Because before we were we butted heads.
This is an audio medium. I don't know for people listening at home.
Yes, we butted heads a lot.
Yeah.
But Diablo just sort of like was our bonding thing.
Diablo 2 and Lord of Destruction was so good that even when Diablo 3 came out, people were like, fuck this, and they were still asking for a Diablo 2 remake. Which we just got as part of that whole release package with Diablo 4. Yeah, so we got Resurrected. Some people still play the living shit out of it. It's still, in my opinion, yes, it's an older game that shows its age, but it's still a great game. But like for, what was it, like 15 or 20 years, people were still like, hey, remake this game.
Yeah. And the ladders were still going.
Yeah. There's still, some people are still playing the original.
There's actually a whole mod community now with it too. I think it's just called
D2R.
Project Diablo. D2R.
Oh yeah, Project Diablo.
Yeah. So they are like, they've updated a bunch of stuff and expanded it. And that's why Diablo 2 Lord of Destruction is one of the best DLCs.
Top tier.
The longevity, the addition, 2 new classes, a whole bunch of like rune words and a new act, lots of farming capability. It was
time sink.
Oh my God. Yeah, we would be counting hours in the thousands, I think.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Jordan, I know you've got your own Blizzard. This is just a Blizzard podcast.
Yeah, just pining. Yeah, pining for the old days of Blizzard content. I mean the easy answer is StarCraft Brood War. I bought I bought the battle chest from Future Shop with my hard-earned lawn mowing summer money.
That's another dating yourself Future Shop existence,
right? I didn't even know what Starbucks or what StarCraft was, and I just saw the box art on the battle chest in the store. It was $100. I had $100. I was like, yeah, fuck yeah! This box art looks sick as hell.
$100 on red.
Yeah. Pick that up, and man, oh man, what a way to just roll the dice. The amount of hours. So like the amount of hours you guys put in Diablo 2 as kids growing up, that would be me with StarCraft. Like just one Brood War, all the like turret defense, custom lobbies and shit back in the day. Like such a good game, and it introduced new characters. Like you got like the Lurker, which was super cool.
Oh yeah,
love that character. And then obviously the story component, adding more to that. Like just chef's kiss. I could go back and play that now, and I would still have a ton of fun with it.
Because Brood War was the entire like Kerrigan timeline, right?
Yeah, basically it focused really heavily on the Zerg faction. Like the original was, I mean, you played as all three, but the original was mostly Terran and Protoss were the very heavy story ones.
Yeah.
And then Brood War was where they fleshed out the Kerrigan character and really added in a lot of the Zelnaga kind of backstory to the universe and everything.
It's taking me back.
Yeah, really kind of branched out. So
Kerrigan,
so good.
Kerrigan was the original Arthas. 100% for all you WoW people out there.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah. Good
girl gone bad.
Yeah, she was.
Facts. Yeah.
Which, like, I'll just lead right into that. That's like the perfect segue, because my first one is on this Blizzard train is Frozen Throne, is Warcraft 3 Frozen Throne.
I don't think they might have been developing it, but I don't think you get WoW without Frozen Throne.
You don't.
No.
You 100% don't. Like it is one of the greatest expansions I think I've ever played, and the story of Warcraft 3 was fun, and that was when like that RTS was like so fun, and kind of like the staple of computer gaming for a little bit. So just adding more onto that, again, like some heroes, you're watching Arthas being taken over by Frostmourne, like, and just that like whole saga. The cinematics were amazing for that like point in time, and the gameplay was so fluid and it was so fun. And then Warcraft 3, of course, has like all those like downloadable fan-made custom modes and everything, and so like that was just like adding on and on and on as it was going. And one of the greatest facets was like playing some of the tower defense ones that people had made and stuff like that. I love that.
So, and then they remade that game and buried it in the ground as best as they could.
Sure did. Yeah.
That came out in 2003, by the way.
Yeah,
there was like 5 years. There was 5 years of Blizzard just fucking nailing it, just absolutely crushing it. And they're like, okay, we're gonna go work on Diablo 3 for 10 years, and everyone's like, oh man, just WoW updates, right? Like,
I mean, like that being said, though, like WoW had some really strong expansions to start with, like Burning Crusade, Wrath of the Lich King.
Yes. Kyle, you and I can attest to Burning Crusade. That is like maybe one of the catalysts of our friendship is Burning Crusade expansion.
Midnight launch and a 4-pack of Full Throttle.
Yeah. And no university classes were attended for a while.
No, not only that, but we went and bought 40 JBCs from Wendy's so that we could just put them in the fridge and eat them for the next 3 days.
This is like peak degenerate. This is absolute peak degenerate.
I'm 18 years old. I can eat whatever I want. Like it had no repercussions.
We put that shit in the fridge and reheated it, and it was disgusting.
Just a soggy patty.
No, you just throw out the lettuce, throw out the tomato, nuke that
This
shit.
is what we did. It's exactly what we did.
Bacon, beef, and cheese. What more do you need at 18, man? It's perfect.
Like that's still one of my favorite memories. I had like a body imprint on Kyle's couch because I stayed at Kyle's place to play the game. I was there for a week.
Yeah.
It's just like this sweat stain.
Kyle actually went to class. I did not.
Just like a criminal chalk outline of Daryl on the couch.
That couch lasted for a while, but it was disgusting.
Then we yeeted it off your balcony.
No, not that one.
No, that was the one that I was sitting on.
Oh, like that's why it was broken.
No. That's not why it was broken. Different story. Anyways,
back on track.
So Daryl also owes me a couch.
I don't owe you a couch.
No, because then he gave you one for free.
He gave me a chair.
Didn't Daryl move in, give you a chair, and then like move out in a week?
Yep.
And then the chair lived with you?
The chair stayed.
We had that chair for years.
I think we're even on the
upholstery. The upholstery is even.
It checks out.
I didn't break your couch. Your old roommate did.
Yeah, I know.
Anyways.
All right.
Kyle, get us back on track here.
I'm going to bring us back here on something not Blizzard.
Whoa,
for the folks at home, this is
shaking it up.
It's just like a blizzard.
Wait, what did you just do there, Kyle? YouTube, you're in for a surprise.
Yeah. So, not Blizzard. Probably, I would say, between at least three of us here, probably one of our most favorite DLCs that unfortunately got a spin-off game that we did not enjoy.
It was ass.
It was no bueno. It wasn't as good as it could have been. But the Tiny Tina's Escape from Dragon's Keep.
Yeah.
Assault
on Dragon's Keep DLC for Borderlands 2. Fuck. Like, just the funniest and just like most well-written, like meta.
So many RPG comedy tropes.
Yeah,
like,
and it was just so
Dark
funny.
Souls, they had like D&D stuff. It was great.
Yeah, it was very original for the time.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
they re-released it right before the sequel, so that people could like get into it.
Yeah,
and it doesn't age as well as what it was when it released, but
some of the Borderlands graphics don't quite hold up as they used to because they were so edgy at the time. Replaying them can be a bit rough, but like it's just a fantastic.
It channeled Tiny Tina perfectly. I found like the new game that they released was not like it was like highly anticipated by Borderlands fans, and it didn't have the same effect because there was like it just turned into like an arena shooter. Because you're traveling to a location on that like game board shit. And it's like
there's so much hope too because you had like Andy Samberg, you had Wanda Sykes, like you had all these really cool voice actors in it.
Ton of them.
So much hope.
It's just like, this is gonna be so good. It's like, oh man, it did not go well.
I think it just shows that Borderlands is in kind of limbo right now. They don't really know what they want that franchise to be.
No.
And
well, because I think Tiny Tina's Wonderland was a flop. Like, so
it was bad. And even
where
3,
do you go from there?
People had a lot of problems with 3 and some of the expansions. I know we played a couple of those as well.
The expansions were duds.
Well, and the villains into, like, of 3 were awful.
Yeah.
They're not memorable at all. I mean, people, it's similar to Diablo. Like, people, I don't know when Borderlands 2 came out, but people are just like, can you just remake Borderlands 2? Like, just update that game, toss on the new engine and just give us Handsome Jack back and his fucking butt stallion. Like, just give us that game again and we'll play it.
I think part of the problem too is that they went from like 2 to pre-sequel and tried to do something weird with like where Jack was the good guy and then they went back to 3 and it lost its charm.
Maybe this is for another episode down the line, but this is my issue with prequels in video games. I find most prequels that come out are dog shit. And it's purely just because they either can't think of new ideas to move the story forward, or they realize, in this case, like Handsome Jack is the crowning jewel of villains in Borderlands. Well, let's capitalize that and, let's just remix that idea and do a prequel where he's the focal point again. And it's like, it gets fucking tiresome.
Like, ruins the mystery of the villain.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like, I don't need them
100%.
to make a prequel to Sonic and explain Dr. Robotnik, right? Like, make him this weird dude that just wants to kill Sonic. I don't care. Right? Like, that's what makes him interesting.
Chaos Emerald.
Yeah, he's mysterious and dangerous, right? Yeah. Everything a woman wants.
Motivation.
Same thing with the Joker and Batman. Like, I don't need to know where the Joker comes from.
No.
Like, the part of the allure is the fact that he is
that you don't know.
Nobody knows who he was before he was, and like that's part of it, So
did you know that Batman's parents died?
Yes, we cover that every couple of years.
Every few years in a new movie, Kyle, we cover that. Yeah.
Right.
DC and Warner Brothers make sure. Yeah, DC and Warner Brothers make sure that we refresh on that knowledge every couple of years.
Yeah.
It's a really hard thing to remember, guys. Okay.
Did you also know that Superman's not from Earth?
All right. Well, I'm gonna get us back on track here. Honestly, like, one of the newer games that I played in the last couple of years that I really enjoyed was Shovel Knight. It's not often we get like a 8-bit or a 16-bit game with DLC or an expansion, but this one completely flips it on its head, and all the villains and boss fights that you did in the main game, those are the characters that you play as in the DLC. And so it was really cool to see the story from their perspective, but then like all of their movement and all of their attacks that you saw during boss fights, like that's all the stuff that you now got to use playing as those characters. So like, I just thought that was super unique. It's not often we get to play a game from the perspective of the so-called bad guys. And so, that was one that was completely out of left field. And I was like, well, you know what? I love the main game. Like, fuck it. Let's give it a shot and see. And yeah, it turned out to be honestly probably one of the best DLCs that I've played. Really
contrary to the Borderlands, like playing the bad guy, this one actually worked.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, Jordan, for you, because you're such a Mega Man fan, and you know how Mega Man absorbs, the boss's powers.
That's Kirby.
Swallow.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. But yeah.
But I feel like because of that vibe, that's why that resonates with you, because you dig that in Mega Man so much that when you get to play as the bosses and use their powers, it made you feel similar to, beating like Boomerang Man or Rock Man or Man.
It's an interesting correlation.
Man.
Signpost man.
Now you're a man.
Wacky arm flailing 2-man man.
That'd be a hilarious enemy. And
oh my god,
that would be really good. Yeah. Yeah, I mean most of my DLC picks are, I mean, relatively new. But I mean I'd regret it if I didn't throw in Bloodborne's DLC. You know, the Old Hunters, I think it's called.
Oh yeah, okay.
That has some of the best enemy and boss designs in any Souls-like game. It introduced
until now.
Shadow of the Erd Tree.
Oh, this is why we're talking about this for anyone that hasn't clued in.
Yeah,
we're leading up to Shadow of the Erd Tree, and like this is like
once we talk about Blizzard for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, and in classic fashion with every fucking Souls game, they love to hide their DLC. I don't know why that is, but there's always some like hidden objective or like special boss that you have to beat in order to open the section that takes you to the DLC. Like there's always some weird prerequisite that their games have, and Bloodborne is no different. Like I remember when it came out, people were flooding to the internet pissed off because they bought this thing and they were like, "What? I'm at the main menu. I can't select it." Like
where do I go?
It's like, guys, you've never played a Souls game. That's okay.
You have to jump through a painting. You have to hit 88 miles an hour, travel back in time.
The funny thing is like you go to this courtyard and this like ghostly hand that comes out of nowhere in the main game and can basically one shot kill you. Now to access the DLC, you have to trust that this ghost hand in this courtyard is going to be the one that teleports you to the fucking new area.
Oh boy.
So you're just like, is this the one? I'm going to stand real still. It's like one shot kill. Fuck. Like, damn it.
Wrong one. That was the hand from Smash Bros. That was wrong.
Smash.
Oh yes.
Wrong gloved hand.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that DLC is so good. On it, like I said, some of the best bosses in that game and in just the Souls genre. They introduced some fucking crazy stuff in that one.
Sweet.
Awesome.
Kyle?
I actually want to take a break.
Okay.
Because I feel like Jordan's been like bottling it up. I know he has a bunch of treasure trove.
Okay, good. We're not talking about feelings. We're good.
No.
Got a lot of feelings, but I do have a very
I want to
large...
share.
This is the good enough support group.
Yeah.
Yeah. Our group chat ranges from the most deranged bullshit to the most positive masculinity support group.
Toxic positivity.
Male friendships.
Yeah.
So on that note,
toxic positivity. Yeah, man, we are too confident.
Okay, so Jordan, please take us on a stroll to the treasure trove.
Treasure trove.
So this week on the Treasure Trove, this game has absolutely nothing to do with the episode topic on hand. And if anything, is a complete 180 to a lot of the games that we've discussed. But, we haven't had a really good Pokemon game in a while. And frankly, Pokemon's kind of shit in the bed on the whole monster scene.
Just everything.
Yeah.
You don't want to battle with a teacup that turns into a teapot or a set of car keys that turns into a motor? Like, come on.
Yeah, this isn't Digimon here, right?
At least the car motor would have machine gun hands or something.
Pistons.
At least some hardcore guitar riffs in the background or something.
Yeah.
Right?
Ripped jeans for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Minimum.
Anyway, this week's game is called Cassette Beasts.
Oh, I've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah. So this game launched on PC, Steam originally. Hit Xbox Game Pass, I believe, last year, and kind of flew under the radar for people that really like monster Pokemon style games. They kind of jumped on it, but unless you're paying attention, it was very easy to miss this one. But it is basically Pokemon and Digimon mixed together. But it's in kind of an older graphic style, like I'd say Pokemon Sun and Moon, kind of that same generation.
Okay. That's not as classic as I thought you were.
No, like not quite like the old school retro stuff, but not, the 3D, open world that we have now. But
gotcha.
Yeah, I don't know where the idea came from, but it's basically you wake up on an island. You have no idea how you got there. You end up running into another person who's been trapped there for decades, and they take you to a town, and everybody in this town woke up on this island, have no idea how they got there, and they can't escape. Yeah. And nobody can leave. And the only thing that they know is that they can basically use cassette tapes to capture the monsters that are on this island. And so
is it a smoke beast? Some deep dive Lost references.
Is there a set of numbers that you have to recite at some point?
There is not.
Is there a bunker?
Probably. Yeah, it's at some point. But yeah, so the interesting thing is
to catch them, do you have to put a pencil in the cassette and wind it back?
No, that's how you heal.
Your character does have a pretty sick cassette tape deck that's on their hip.
Oh, so that's pretty. Was it like a shock-proof Walkman?
It's got, I was gonna say, it's got anti-skip.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, it's super cool. The basically the cassette that you pick at the start of battle, you essentially become that monster. So it kind of feels like Digimon-esque in that way. Like it's like, I'm gonna pick this guy, and then that's the monster that you become for the fight. There's relationship building, but it's actually cool because that relationship building ties into monster fusion. And so you toss in some Dragon Ball Z in there. No, you two characters.
Put on your cosplay outfit, and we're gonna get down to business.
But yeah, I mean, it's a really cool, unique idea. The monster design is actually pretty good. The story is interesting, and and like the music fucking slaps. It's like 80s kind of retro-y type stuff. And it's got edge? Maybe. Yeah. And it's got a really good battle. It's got a good battle loop to it as well. And it's got all the same things that you would expect from Pokemon. It's got your element types and, weaknesses and buffs and all that stuff. Yeah, you use a cassette tape.
Is there like bad guys? Like, is there like a Team Rocket of all of this?
Yeah. So there is a team on the island.
CD-ROM fuckers coming to take over.
It's MP3s.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's got all the copies. It's got like an evil team. It's got legendary monsters, but in this world, the monsters are corrupt, and so you need to beat them to turn them good again. And then it even has legendary trainers out there too, and so you can go and fight those trainers and potentially get some of the cassettes that they have. So,
or are they using a Zune?
Nice reference.
Oh boy, yeah, that's a throwback for sure.
Wow.
I do have a question though, because this actually sounds really interesting. Are what grade of monster are we dealing with? More like mature character design for the monsters? Or are we talking, like Daryl said, ice cream cones and car keys?
Trevor wants to know if the monsters have titties.
No, that is not what I'm asking. I'm talking like,
do they look like something badass, or do they look like a fucking household item?
Get out of here on it. Stupid questions, Kyle. You non-Pokemon believer. Get out of here.
They are. I like the monster designs. They're not stupid household items like some of the Pokemon shit.
This is an egg beater.
They're got his Pokemon shirt on.
Honestly, there are some blends between Pokemon and Digimon for the designs. Some of them look a little bit older. I think in my party, I've got like a T-Rex looking thing right now. And then some of the fusions are really cool too. And just the way they incorporate that into like the level building of each character. It forces you to have to use multiple monsters and like rotate your party on a regular basis so that you can get these higher tiers to be able to fuse and do your evolutions and stuff. So
cool.
Yeah, they did a really good job to kind of make it their own while being a very blatant copy of Digimon and Pokemon.
We don't talk about
that. Right up there with Nexomon.
Yes, yeah, that is, yeah.
I mean, that's a great game as well, but
it's so good. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, Cassette Beast. It's on Game Pass. I think you can buy it on Steam for like $10. I think it's pretty cheap now. No word of PlayStation or Switch yet, from what I've seen. But
sounds like the perfect Switch game.
Cassette Beast.
It would be the perfect Switch game. Yeah.
So we're gonna bring it back to DLC, and I have a bone to pick with one.
Uh-oh.
This was one where like I played the shit out of the game. I platinumed it. This is a recent one too. And I was like, oh, like DLC will be great. I paid $27 for a 7-hour DLC.
Yep, you did.
One main like extending storyline quest. One.
What was the game, Kyle?
Horizon Forbidden West Burning Shores. What a fucking waste of money.
Yeah, but you got to kill like tech nerd douchebags. Like that's
it was such a waste, and there was such a lack of payoff. There was like that one like through the game, there was that one tech nerd that was trying to like modify himself. But
and
all
he dies
heard,
off screen.
Yeah, you never even get to see him all fucked up either.
Fucking waste. Like that was like, okay, guys, let's see how much we can milk this. But then they didn't put in the work to make it worthwhile.
And it has no connotation to the story, apparently. It's like no.
It's just some side shit.
It's just some, yeah.
Look at more of California. Yeah.
It's just fluff.
I was so fucking angry that I paid full price for that. I bought it day one because I was excited. And that's what you give me. And that's what you give
especially me. Because in the first Horizon, was it the Frozen Wilds or whatever?
That was good.
Pretty good DLC.
Yeah. No, this was a fucking waste of money. Do not buy Burning Shores.
You heard it.
Don't do it.
Or get it dirt cheap. Don't pay almost $30 for it.
Just get the complete version of the game. That's going to be cheaper than the original game.
Honestly, to me, this is them giving you the bird at the end of the main game, and they were like, fuck, we didn't give anybody any chance to actually use this thing. All right, well, let's throw in some expansion.
By the time you learn how to fly, it's not even worth it.
No.
Yeah.
Like, to me, that's why that expansion was there, was so that they could justify you now having the bird.
Bird mechanics.
While we're on that, did anybody do the God of War expansion, like the arena thing?
I did.
I played a bit of it.
I liked it. But it's a roguelike experience, and I mean, how many roguelike games can we have right now? There's a fucking lot of them.
Yeah.
So it's like,
it also to me just didn't seem like a very necessary component to that game.
They kind of took what was at the end of the first remake of God of War, or the new God of Wars, where you're in the maze. Right, where you could run the maze and you could get some sick gear. Like they kind of took that, and then they were like, "Oh, people love that," and they're like, "Let's just make a whole extra DLC out of it."
Yeah. I will give them the benefit of the doubt that for number one, it was free. You didn't have to pay for it. Yeah, so true. It's like, who gives a shit if you don't want to play it? But they did actually try and throw in some story into it as well. So like the further you progressed and the more stuff that you unlocked, there was actually story beats that would be in there between Kratos and the Valkyries. And so like it gave you a little bit of incentive to keep playing, because you were at least getting some type of narrative experience to it.
Yeah.
I found the first game, like end game sort of stuff, to be way more compelling. And I mean, just the first game in general kept my attention a bit more than Ragnarok. The story was great. I enjoyed it, but not nearly as much as God of War.
I think most of what they did there was they wanted something new. They wanted something new and exciting to add on to the end of the game, because Ragnarok was coming to PC.
Yes. 100%.
Right? Oh, so that was like the, hey, here's your incentive to also get it, because it's also coming with this new added stuff. Right. So
and honestly, increase the value. Like, to me, that roguelike experience is the perfect Twitch like streamer game mode. Like,
if you're really into that,
like to me that is the perfect content to stream, because then people can experience the story beats, but they don't have to slog through all the roguelike stuff that a lot of people don't like.
Fair.
Interesting. Fair. Do you guys have any gripes? Is there any DLC that made you upset?
I have some more DLCs that I like that I know might cause some stirs here.
But I have a lot of DLC. I thought we were just gonna start. We need to start rattling off some stuff we actually went back and played.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I'll just kick off. I'll kick off. So honestly, one of the best collections of DLCs, and Jordan's gonna hate this because it's Bethesda. Pretty much Fallout 3 and forward.
Yes.
Mainly because, as Jordan says, Bethesda releases broken games. When you start getting the DLCs, especially for these really popular games that have like 4 or 5 plus DLCs, they have now modded and fixed the games.
Yeah.
And then they add the best part of what made the games good, which is the story.
Yeah.
Along with those fixed portions. So like obviously like New Vegas, Fallout 3, you had these like wicked DLCs. Fallout 4,
Mothership Zeta,
all of them.
Yeah.
And the same with Fallout 4, like Nuka World, like you had all these fun little story add-ons that I think were great, because you got them so much later when they're like, hey, here, add your mods in, make the story better, make the graphics better, fix all the things that we released broken.
Cyberpunk strategy.
Correct. But that's just a whole bundle of DLCs.
What about
10 DLCs?
What about Fallout 76 though?
We ignore that existence.
I don't know about DLCs because that is a game as a service, right? That's not DLC.
Yeah.
That's them releasing a empty piece of shit game and then finally fixing it to something playable now, but it's lost my interest. It's gone.
Yeah, did you guys know that game launched with 0 NPCs in the game?
Okay.
Yeah.
At launch.
Focus.
I'm sorry, what?
Focus.
Got a list to get through.
Okay. Yes, focus, Jordan.
Kyle, the original concept of Fallout 76 was you were building bases and you were meant to be the survivors interacting with each other. And so there was when people didn't pick up the game, there was fucking literally nothing to do.
Dog water.
Awful. It was bad.
That's not what you gauge the Fallout series.
It's in a much better place now if you're thinking.
Okay, enough. We get it. Fallout 76 sucks. Moving on.
I think Daryl needs to poop or something. Daryl.
I'm just
Daryl,
like,
give us some. Give us some, Daryl.
This is like the rabbit trail today is fucking off the charts. Okay. DLC from other games that we've played. Diablo 3. Okay. Like going back.
Souls. Yeah.
Okay. Reaper Souls was
fix it, add on. Yeah.
Fix on, add on was wonderful. We played the shit out of Diablo 3. That's how this whole thing started. We know this.
Chicken races and
Halo's all this time.
And
chicken races.
Playing as the Necromancer again, which was fucking awesome. Like that's legit. Some games that most of us have played as well that had DLC. I really like this for one specific component. So Batman: The Arkham Knight.
Yes, thank you.
Added on DLC content where you got to play as the other characters. That's the first time in a video game I got to be Red Hood like was in post game content, and I was losing my fucking mind. Let me tell you. So I was very excited. Those missions were short. That stuff was like really kind of compact, but it was still a nice facet of the game. It was nice to experience playstyle as different characters in a concentrated like situation, and I thought that added to that game really well.
And it had the polish of the Arkham games.
Like, it
did. Those DLCs were phenomenal right off the hop. Honestly, I was thinking about that, Darrow. I wrote that down on my list, and it makes me sad because, like, to me, Red Hood is the natural progression of the Arkham series.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, he would be the perfect one to transplant into a new trilogy of like, okay, all this shit happened in the Arkham games, and you know, Red Hood has had his like redemption set. Okay, now we're gonna pop him in as the open world Batman guy.
I can only get so excited.
And you could actually do like you could actually do kind of the prequel of like, who the fuck is Red Hood? Because we haven't had to learn about Red Hood's parents dying every 3 years for the last 20 years.
It would be interesting. I swear people would like it would pop
and
up.
He kind of, and to be fair, it's cashing in because he kind of looks like Deadpool just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
It wouldn't hurt the sales.
I mean, it's not Deathstroke, but like
it's not Deathstroke. Deathstroke and Deadpool are obviously way more like they're just different color palettes essentially.
What do you mean, Slade Wilson?
Yeah, and Wade Wilson. This is so funny.
I know some DC shit.
Yes, you do.
All right. Now, the video game universe would yell at us if I don't mention this DLC. The Witcher 3 Blood and Wine.
Oh, yeah.
Just that
considered to be one
whole
of
fucking
the
franchise.
DLC.
Yeah, like the Witcher 3 expansions, there were 2 of them. But Blood and Wine, which was the last one of the Witcher 3, is considered to be like a top 3 DLC expansion of all time. It's got a phenomenal story. It builds on the character arcs of everybody from the main game and introduces really interesting new characters. It takes combat and crafting and a lot of like the battle mechanics and builds off of those, and you can now craft a bunch of new stuff. It's a brand new area, which is like super colorful and
huge.
It's gigantic. Like the fact that this was a PS4 game and it ran, kind of okay. It's impressive anyway, just the sheer size of it.
If you were going to go for 100% on Blood and Wine, it's about 40 hours.
That's impressive. That's an impressive
for a
expansion.
DLC.
Like that's that's a nice DLC. Like you gotta love that. Like
Now, not
the main objectives, it's like 15, but like
not entirely a DLC. But can we just blame The Witcher 3 for all of these open world RPG games trying to put in fucking so many like card based mini games?
You're not wrong.
So updates from our previous episode. Like, I am now entering the end of Final Fantasy VII. I've hit the final chapter, and my God, am I pissed off with the fucking mini game components of this. My overall rating has definitely changed because the story is phenomenal and like the graphics are great, but the push for this extra content and then saying you have to beat it at the next level or hard mode or whatever, enough. Like it's just let me play through it the first 10 times I have to play this game and let me be done with it. Like enough. Anyways, whole other story. On the Final Fantasy VII train, though, I do want to bring up Intergrade because like that is kind of like it
counts
technically a standalone, but it really is just a short add-on to bridge some gap of talking about Yuffie Urasagi in the frame of Final Fantasy. So Final Fantasy VII, I thought that was good DLC content, and once you load it up and you've already played Remake, you're adding on to the Chadley battle simulator stuff, and there's new missions that come with that and stuff
Chadley.
like that. Chadley's also super annoying.
Chadley needs to shut the fuck up. Chadley needs to quiet down.
Yeah.
Did you guys play the Ghost of Tsushima?
The multiplayer?
No, Iki Island, the expansion.
think I played through just the main part of it. I completely forgot that was part of it, because I remember we played as part of that whole expansion. There was the add-on of the multiplayer
Legends,
yeah, and we went through that a couple rounds because it's just kind of like a mission-based add-on that you can play with your friends. But
the actual expansion was really cool. It was like a more beachy coastal place to explore. But they added in a bunch of like legendary armor sets that were all themed around PlayStation franchises.
Sweet.
So a lot of it was hidden. But like I remember getting a God of War Kratos set of armor that had like the red like paint job all across the armor. They had a Sly Cooper one in there as well, which was fun. Like it buffed your stealth capabilities. Yeah. So there were some really cool Easter eggs in that expansion that I really enjoyed, and it just gave you more Ghost of Tsushima, which I mean you can't argue with that.
Yeah,
it was
pet the foxes, follow the birds.
Yeah. Shredder's Revenge, guys.
Yeah. Classic.
That DLC wasn't really like that wonderful. Like it was good. It was a good mix up to get you kind of back into it. But again, same thing. Like it's a roguelike playthrough. You're just like, that's a pretty intensive grinding situation that I just didn't think.
I mean, really like the new characters.
The new characters were great, but there's not more mission. There's no more story going on the map. Like I didn't really.
How would you guys feel about there being a story expansion? Like, would you pick that up?
I would pick that up again.
I'd play that
in a heartbeat. Yeah.
I think the other one. I think part of the problem with the other one is it just came out way too late.
Yeah. It did come out really late.
You get these rise and falls of games. It's like that DLC, honestly, for the size and cost of that game and everything, it's like that DLC should have been like a month or two later at most, right? Because then you're like, oh shit, like I'm still playing that game. But like when we came back to it, I was just like obviously you remember it, but you're like, how do I play this game? Like what's going on again?
Yeah, what are your guys' thoughts on that? Because I was thinking about that when I wrote my list of like how many DLCs come out way too late. A lot of them are a year.
Well, I think more now than ever, it's like it's tougher to get things out quick because the amount of programming and the amount of time it takes. As technology progresses, by the time you've released some of your DLC, the capabilities of what you're working on and building it on are way higher than what you're programming it for.
Yeah.
So like you're just taking a lot of steps backwards. I feel like we're just progressing at such a rate that it's hard to get that stuff to come out all the time.
Well, so a follow up to that then, should we even be doing DLCs and expansions? Because like,
I think for certain games it works. Like I would argue some of the things it takes you back to the game. I haven't even brought up my favorite DLC ever. And like,
bring it up then.
And Jordan, you will agree with me on the fact that this is my favorite DLC ever, but this is probably the greatest DLC in a fighting game ever made. And that's Mortal Kombat 11 After. That is the greatest DLC content ever loaded up to a game there is, because it takes the story that's already been made, gives you new characters brought in as expansion for fighting games, which is pretty commonplace now. Yeah. But then inputs them into the story, makes them part of it, and sort of rewrites a new ending that launches into the next game. Yeah. And if you don't play Aftermath, you don't understand the beginning of Mortal Kombat 1. Like if you don't play it, you won't get it.
Yeah.
So sounds like some Kingdom Hearts shit right there.
Yeah.
But it was
it was worth it though.
It was worth the money. It was worth the play. Again, you got hours and hours of story mode brought back in, and just like a bunch of nice, quality of life things along with it. So
it's just super rare for a fighting game too, because like you said, most of the time it's just like, here's some new fighters to fight with your friends, or downloadable seasonal content now.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's huge for that.
Yeah, like it was, again, it sets Mortal Kombat apart from all the other fighting games as being kind of the pinnacle of narrative fighting games. For sure. Tekken's added in story mode. Street Fighters tried to do story modes. I know
Street Fighter, you get movies. That's the story mode.
Yeah.
And you know,
that's
and
Guilty Gear.
Yeah, I was gonna say thank you for bringing that up. Like Guilty Gear Strive, one of the biggest bummers I've ever had is I bought that game thinking it had a story-based mode. And
it's just a movie.
It's literally like a 2.5-hour movie. You just fucking sit there and watch. That's it.
Yeah.
So dumb. So dumb. I don't care who likes that game. That's fucking garbage. So, yeah. Anyway, Mortal Kombat Aftermath. Really good.
Back to your point, though. I think there is like a window. And honestly, if From Software didn't do such a good job and like have this huge resurgence of people being like, oh shit, I got to pick up Elden Ring again. Like, I think most people would really struggle. Like if this was something else, right? If this wasn't like a favorited 10 out of 10 game of the year winning franchise, like this
doesn't get played.
This DLC just falls to the wind, right?
I would argue it's still too long. Like I'd argue it's still too long.
I think they're going to see
what, like 3 years,
2.5-ish. Yeah, 2.5.
Yeah. That's way
but
too
I
long.
mean, and on top of the fact, like it's in Canada, it's $55.
Oh my god, really?
Yeah. Like I know it's supposed to be big, but I'm just like, like I'm probably gonna buy it and play it, but like if it's bad in any way or if it's like really short, I'm just gonna be like, wow, like I got fucking hosed.
Yeah.
Like we've talked about this before just in our group chat, but like Trevor, I think you brought it up where like we're pretty sure that this is 2 expansions that they just put into one. And that's why it's not only expensive, the size that they say it's supposed to be, but also why it's taken 2.5 years for it to come out. You know, because there's been rumors that that they were working on 2 separate ones and just decided to merge them together.
Well, either that or as part of the DLC or whatever was that like new arena. You know, same thing. They're like, hey, let's put in
that
just
was
like
stupid too.
PvP arena.
That was stupid.
That PvP in any From Software game has always been broken and janky and filled with the worst human beings in the world.
Yeah.
So many cheaters. Yeah, like, so many cheaters.
So many cheaters, so many just like absolutely broken game mechanics. So it's just like, if that's what you want to do, like have fun. But like the story of Elden Ring is, and the way it plays is why I'm going back to play it.
Yeah, your mainstream audience isn't going back for a PvP arena. Yeah. Like, it's not going to happen.
I only have money for so many controllers.
I look at that and I'm like, man, do I start a new character and like play through the whole thing again, or do I just like add on to my existing character?
So speaking of this, so if people here are thinking about picking it up, and Jordan's comment earlier about Bloodborne, this story seems to be very focused through like Moog, and that sort of things. So I think if you were going to start a new character, I believe you can do it in Next Game Plus and everything like that. It sounds like it all scales, but that's kind of, I think, where you need to be in the game. Okay. So if you've got a completed character, you might have to kind of play back through to get to him. I mean, Elden Ring's really easy to like skip a ton of shit, especially once you've gotten to Next Game Plus. But just so people are aware, like that's where you have to get to, which is definitely farther in the game, right? You got to get to like the Blood Palace or whatever the hell it's called.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sweet. So cool. But Jordan and I have gone back. We've started some new characters to just relearn, right? It's so much easier to relearn mechanics when guys are like just dinky and not so hard.
Yeah.
Still that fucking forest knight at the beginning still fucks my shit up. Pisses me off. I hate it.
Yeah.
Fucking Kool-Aid man for Daryl's playthrough.
I've never experienced anything like that ever in a game until that night. I just
remember Daryl just shrieking into voice chat.
That was so funny.
How is he allowed to do that?
Yeah.
I hit the save point thing. I was just like, oh, this is good. Nope.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Holy. That was I wish I clipped that.
Help me, Tom Cruise.
Okay, let's get to final thoughts. Did we miss any like quick hitters? Any DLC that people should definitely check out?
I didn't mind some of the Hot Wheels DLC, like on the first game.
I would essentially just buy Hot Wheels 2.
Yeah,
because they took all of the DLC and they're like, wait, we can make this better and include it all for the same price. Because the first Hot Wheels game, although great, there was a lot of cash grab shit in that.
It was like But I like the Batman one when we got it. Like
that was fun.
That was fun. And then like the new one has like different worlds like for the maps that you go on, and it's kind of included in
the Outer Wilds or Outer Worlds.
Outer Worlds.
The Obsidian one. What the hell is that called?
Outer Worlds.
Outer Worlds. Yeah.
Yeah.
That DLC is really good. It's basically New Vegas but in space, it just builds off of that. I didn't play the second DLC, but I played the first one. I really enjoyed it.
The original Spider-Man game, like PS4 with like the Black Cat missions and all that stuff. That
Spider-Man 2, come on.
Venom.
Again, talking about that window.
Yeah, we're slowly running out of time here, and part of it is I think they're working, especially these PlayStation. Well, not even that. I think with these PlayStation games, they're working on it in conjunction with the release that's going to eventually happen to Steam.
Yeah. That's fair.
So I think their big push is like when the game or when the DLC or the game is ready on Steam, we want to release them together, which yay for you PC people, but for the rest of us that, bought it early, you're like, just sitting here. Yeah, just sitting here, just kind of waiting.
Yeah.
Got to be patient. Yeah.
All right. I think that about does it, guys. Just again, reminder, this comes out the Wednesday before GameCon. We are driving up Thursday morning. We're setting up. We're going to be there bright-eyed and bushy-tailed on Friday morning.
We'll DLC you there. I'm going to use the same joke I wrote in the intro a third time.
Yeah, come on down if you're in Edmonton. Make the trip. It will be great. You can see us in person. You can see how stupid we are face to face.
It's really dumb.
Yeah.
Just be prepared, guys. It's really dumb.
So
it's top tier.
Thanks again for listening. I think that was DLC good enough.
Good enough.
Yeah, good enough.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube for more content. We also invite you to write an email or join us on Discord to talk about anything from our episodes or something else you would like to discuss in the future. Please subscribe to the Good Enough Gaming Podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever else you listen to your podcasts. And remember, we might not be great, but we are good enough.